In this video, the tie and dye is taught by the Kembujeh Sabu Kunda Women's Association in Brikama, Kembujeh. This video will show you how to make a 2-color tie and dye bedsheet. The materials needed for this work are caustic soda, dye colors, plain cloth, a spoon, hydrogen sulfate powder, thread, and gum. The first step in the process is to tie the cloth. To do this, the cloth is folded in half from top to bottom and in half from left to right. Then some water is sprinkled on the cloth so that it can easily be grabbed and tied. This is done on the whole cloth. When the cloth is damp, you start folding at the center of the 2 folds. You will fold around this center area. The cloth is held in your hands and you use a forefinger pressed against the cloth to make small folds in the cloth. The cloth above the folds is straightened to continue the folds up the cloth from where you began. After the whole center circle has been folded, it is held to begin tying. The tying begins about 15 centimeters from the center of the cloth, about 2 palms worth. A string is wrapped tightly around the folded part of the cloth to keep the dye from entering the cloth there. First, wrap the string in a circle where you are beginning your tying. Wrap it around 4 or 5 times so that it is nice and tight. It is important to wrap this string very tight so that it stays undyed. After the start of the tie has been set, you will continue to wrap the string up along the folds. Each ring moving up should be about 2 centimeters long. Use your forefingers to support the tying and to keep things tight. This section should be tied up to about 10 centimeters, about 1.5 palms. For the next section, you should straighten the folds and make them smooth for about 15 centimeters and then redo the tying again. This pattern of folding and tying is continued until the whole cloth is tied. Here is a cloth that is completely tied. See how each tied section is the same length and each folded section is the same length? This is important for the dyeing process, so be sure to plan for it. Next, it is time for the tied cloth to be folded for dyeing. To do this, start at the center circle. After each tied portion, fold the cloth in the other direction. This will give you a bundle with the tied sections in the middle and the folded sections spread at the top and the bottom. Using an elastic band, tie the center of the bundle tightly together. Next, take the folded edges and spread them so that dye can get into the cloth there. Leaving the side with the center loose, tie the other side of the bundle with another elastic band. These bundles are now ready to be dyed. Now that the cloth is tied, it is time to prepare the dye colors. We are dyeing this cloth 2 colors so that the cloth will have circles of colors. To prepare the dye, first you must put some water in a cooking pot to boil. While the water is boiling, measure the dye colors in a pan. The type of color you use depends on the colors you want. There should be 2 pans with different colors. Measure 8 spoons of dye color in the pan. When that is done, measure 5 spoons of caustic soda and add it to the 8 spoons of dye colors. The dye colors should be more than the caustic soda. If the caustic soda is more than the dye colors, the color will not stay long on the cloth and it will wash away easily. Measure 9 spoons of hydrogen sulfate powder and add it to the mixture. When the water is boiled, use a cup and measure 8 liters of water into the first dye mix. Use a long stick to stir the dye mix with the water. Be careful that the water does not touch your skin because it can burn you. It is advisable to wear gloves to protect your hands from touching the dye mix. Take the bundled cloth. Find the side that is not tied with the center of the cloth. Put it in the pan with the dye. Move it around a bit to make sure the dye gets in the folds. And then leave it to sit and soak in the dye. It should sit in the dye about 10 minutes. During the time it is sitting, it is good to make the second dye color. While the color may be different, all the measurements and other ingredients are the same. There is no difference in this procedure. Measure 8 spoons of dye color in the pan. Measure 5 spoons of caustic soda and add it to the 8 spoons of dye colors. Measure 9 spoons of hydrogen sulfide powder and add it to the mixture. Use a cup and measure 8 liters of water into the dye mix. Use a long stick to stir the dye mix with water. After about 10 minutes, take the cloth out of the dye mix and squeeze it to remove extra color. You can squeeze very hard because it is tied strongly to avoid untying during soaking the other part of the cloth. Now untie the tie on the undyed side of the bundle and use the tie to tie the dyed side of the bundle. Put the undyed side of the bundle down into the second color. Soak the other side, moving it around so that the dye gets into the cloth well, and then leave it to sit for another 10 minutes. Squeeze out the excess of the second color. Now it is time to remove the ties. A knife is used to cut the rope that was tied around the cloth. Great care is taken to make sure that the knife does not cut your cloth. Spread the cloth wide. Wash the cloth in cold water to remove extra dye. Wash in 2 or 3 pans of water. After washing the cloth very clean, the color of the cloth changes. In this case, it goes from dark green to black and red. The cloth is now hung on a line in an open place for quick drying. Drying can also be on a wall or a chair. When the cloth is dry, it is folded for later starching. This can be done the same day or on another day. When it is time to prepare your starch, boil water in a cooking pot. Add the starch to a pan with a very little bit of hot water. Mix the starch until it is thick and smooth like baobab juice. Then slowly add more hot water to the starch until you have enough. Even when adding more water, the starch should still be thick. Add a little brass to this mixture as well to make the cloth shine. Here is the starch that is prepared for the cloth after adding hot water. Wait until it has cooled down before putting the cloth in the starch. When the cloth is put in the starch, you should massage it well so that all the parts of the cloth get the starch. After being dipped in the starch, the cloth is hung to dry. When it is dry, it will be refolded and taken to professionals for beating. There are special people who do the beating, and this cloth will be taken there for that process. They use heavy sticks when beating so that the cloths are level and smooth like iron cloths. When the cloths are beaten, they look shiny and pretty. The colors appear more than when it was not beaten.